All right, guys, we're going to be rating nursing jobs. This is part one. And of course, number one on the list, prison/jail nursing. So, working in prisons or jails, it takes a certain person because it's not for everybody. I'm going to tell you that right now. So, if you're thinking about going into this field, of course, the sign-on bonuses, the pay, everything seems really good up front. And it is. Don't get me wrong. They do pay really well for the position you're going to be working. Once you get on there, you're going to be working most likely in the medical unit. A couple of things. If you're working in the jail, you could be the one doing admissions on the new jail inmates, and also attending, any emergencies that happen in the building that are medical emergencies. And it's in prison, same thing, medical units. Everybody there in the prison is already going to stay there for the length of time. They're not just there temporarily. They're there for whatever period of time they have to be there. So you're going to be passing meds during pill call, morning, afternoon, nights, whatever the time is. And you're most likely going to be seeing patients slash inmates. You do evals on them, and then you refer them to the doctor if they need to be referred, as well as gives them their insulin shots and, just anything that has to do with medication. The next thing as well is you will be responsible for counting all the needles, all the medications that are narcotics, because in the prison, any little contraband that goes missing is a big deal. So you do have to count every single needle at the beginning of the shift and at the end of the shift, as well as all the medications that are considered controlled substances. Some prisons, there's a nurse that's designated to go to the segregation unit, the people that are on lockdown. It's like a prison within a prison, to hand individual pills to those inmates cell by cell. Of course, you're going to be walking with a staff, a correctional officer who's going to open a trap door for you, and you're going to put the pills, give it to the inmate, watch him swallow it. Same thing with the pill window. They come up to the window, you give them the medication, they swallow it in front of you, they walk away, and yada, yada, yada. So that's pretty much the whole role of a nurse in a prison. Unless you have an infirmary in your prison, where you're basically like a med-surg nurse in the prison, you most likely won't be doing that. Most prisons I worked in, they don't have an infirmary. We send the patients out to the hospital when they need to go to the hospital. Now, there are some things you got to watch out for. Inmates have nothing but time to think and plot and how to get what they want out of you. So if you're somebody who's easily manipulated or feels sorry for people, this is not the place for you. Please do not work there, because you will get compromised. And if you do anything that you shouldn't do for these inmates, it could be a felony. If you even think about bringing anything in for them, or just feel sorry for them and want to help them out in a way that could compromise you, very, very bad. And one thing you do not want to do in a prison. Also, it depends on the prison you're in. There's, male prisons, female prisons. Same thing with jails. Some jails are men and women, but they are separated in different units. But in the prison world, mainly it's male or female. So if you are the opposite sex working in the opposite sex prison, expect to get catcalled, expect to be enticed by these inmates. And you just got to be careful and be aware of your surroundings, because just because an inmate is nice to you, it does not mean they won't hurt you. So you always have to be on guard and just be careful. So take this all into consideration if you're planning to work in a prison or jail. So I'm going to rate it from 1 to 5. And just with my experience, I'm going to rate it a 3 out of 5, because you do get good pay. The hours are set, and it's a pretty easy going job for the most part, 90% of the time, with 10% of the time being hard with fights and being on guard. But I gotta even it out and say 3 out of 5 is probably the best rating I could give this kind of work for a nurse. And I hope this gives you some information if you're thinking about doing this position. Thanks. Stay tuned for part 2.